Good morning, 8th grade. So today we are going to be working on our final page of our packet. It's dated Friday, January 8th, 2016. And we're still working with our same text from yesterday, which is The Zoo by Edward D. Hawke. Before we get started, I want to go over a couple of notes to kind of clarify what we are working on while we read our story today and just review some of our terms. So starting with defining point of view. Take a second and see if you can define point of view on your own, and then I will review it with you. Good, so point of view is the person telling the story, or the perspective of the story. So what we get because of who is telling the story. Oftentimes it's in first or third. So when we think of point of view, what thoughts and feelings do we get? What ideas, emotions do we get because of who's telling the story? And what do we understand because of who's telling the story? If a story is told from a particular character's point of view, we're going to understand the events that happen through those eyes. So point of view is extremely important when understanding our stories. So we should know first person point of view is told from a character's perspective. It uses I, me, my, we to tell the story. So this is when a character inside of the story is talking or telling the story from their own perspective. Whereas third person point of view is, go ahead and try and define this on your own. This is usually told by a narrator, someone outside of the story. Uses he, she, they. There's two different types of third person point of view. There's limited, which only focuses on one character's thoughts, feelings, or inside of their head. And there's omniscient, which is going to focus on almost all or multiple characters. So the point of view can come from multiple characters. It can be told first by one character and then by a different character, or at the same time you can be getting lots of different perspectives, but it can definitely come from more than one character. Some example, the main character or the protagonist. This is usually someone in the story, someone who's involved directly with the events of the story, whereas the narrator is outside of the story. That's where we often get our first person versus our third person, telling about events versus from inside the events. Authors use many strategies to develop each point of view. So here are some examples of the way that authors develop point of view. Sometimes we have our thoughts and feelings shown through inner dialogue. See if we can remember what inner dialogue is and write it down. Good, that's the conversation happening inside of a character or the narrator's head. So this is when you're thinking of anything that are thoughts that aren't being said out loud. That's going to be inner dialogue, whereas dialogue is a conversation that's happening outside, what people are actually saying. Another way is through actions and reactions. What characters do and how characters react to situations is going to really show what that point of view is and help the reader understand. So what you're going to do today is reread this same story that you read yesterday, but you're going to be annotating for point of view. What that means is you want to be circling or underlining words that show you, is it first or is it third? Are we getting this from a main character or a narrator? And then do we see any of these strategies, such as thoughts and feelings shown through inner dialogue, actions, and reactions? And I think an easy way to do this would be to underline those things and in the margin, make a note of them. I'm going to do the first paragraph with you. The children were always good during the month of August, especially when it began to get near the 23rd. It was on this day that the great silver spaceship carrying Professor Hugo's interplanetary zoo settled down for its annual 6-hour visit to the Chicago area. I'm going to underline the children. I'm going to underline Professor Hugo, because this is showing me that this is in third person, because we're being told about this through a character that is outside of the story. It's not an I, it's a they. And then I'm also going to underline always good during the month of August, because again, this is a place where we're understanding thoughts and feelings of multiple characters. We're understanding how many children feel about the events that are going on. So I want you to continue to read through the rest of the story again, annotating for our inner dialogue, our dialogue, actions and reactions, and more about who is telling the story and how is our point of view change and why is that important. So go ahead and read through the rest of the story. You can stop before you get to these boxes. If you'd like to try the boxes, you're more than welcome, but we'll go over them when we get up.